Today on Beavertown Outdoors, it's time to shut down the boiler. Hello again, friends. Welcome to another edition of Beavertown Outdoors. I'm John. I'm out here at the beautiful Beavertown compound. And today it is time to shut down the Portage, Maine outdoor water furnace, outdoor wood boiler for the season. It's, this week we're supposed to be 70 degrees all week. And, we got a couple of like 1 or 2 days in the next 2 weeks that might dip down to where it gets relatively cold. At 70 degrees during the day, it gets hard to actually keep a boiler going. I mean, you can do it. You try to time your laundry and whatnot to use more water, since the house isn't calling for heat so much, but we usually don't keep ours going when it gets that warm. I know plenty of people do. There's plenty of people that run them all year round, and all they're heating is water. If you have a demand for a lot of hot water, I guess you could do that. But for us, it doesn't work out. So we shut down every year, usually sometime in April, just like we usually fire up in October. So that's 6 months. So half the year we burn, half the year we don't. It works out good for us. Just to give you a little idea, since this was the first season with Portage in Maine, going from the Central Boiler Classic Edge, which was a gas fire, back to a conventional, but to a conventional multi-pass, which Portage in Maine 2840 is. How did we do on wood? Well, you can see behind me, the shed is empty. The shed holds 8 full cord. We used that up, plus I ran through probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 totes of cookies. Again, that was part of the reason for getting the Portage in Maine, is that having the firewood business, I have you'd think endless supply of scrap, cookies, things like that, offcuts, gnarly pieces. So burned those up. I still got some of that left, but burned up the stockpile the last 2 years. Filled quite a bit of totes and even had a small bin that I was filling up full of it. And that was kind of nice that once we ran out of the stacked wood, we started burning the cookies, getting rid of the scraps, which is great. As far as wood consumption, it did consume more wood, but it's hard to judge, right? We had here in northern Michigan, we had about a solid month where we were consistently single digits below zero, and for that month we consumed a lot of wood, as did everybody else, I'm sure. The 2 years prior to that, with the last 2 years we had the Classic Edge, I don't know if you can even call it a winter, especially the one last winter, but this winter got harsh for a while, and I'd say we burned 10 full cord, 10 full cord worth of wood. Before, on a hard winter we had with Classic Edge, I'd burn about 6 to 8. So went up 2 cord of wood. But again, that two of those cords, pretty much the two extra that we would have from what we would have burned, that was all scrap and stuff that I would have just end up throwing in a pile and burning and watching burn with a beverage. So that was great. But now it's time to shut this down. So if you've seen my previous videos on the Classic Edge, shutdown was a big elaborate process. You know, we had to shut it down, and then I had to pull it all apart, you know, clean everything, and then put it all back together. It was an all-day event. I'm hoping with this that this is only going to take a few minutes. So I'm going to show you what I got to do, and may not be everything that you should do or whatnot, but at least it'll show you what I'm going to do for this year. So stay tuned. Okay, so last night I didn't fill the boiler. Just let it run out of wood. Would burn up what it had left for the day. So I'm gonna come out here. You can hear the fans running. It's probably been running for a while now. So we'll open up the back door, take a look. Yeah, as you can see. So we're down at 119 degrees. So yeah, the boiler's definitely burned out. Pumps are still running, fans running. So all we're gonna do is just take and shut down the fan. I'm gonna leave the pumps running for now. You know, I usually leave them run for a while, but we're gonna close that back up, and then we're gonna head around to the front. And we'll open it up and see what we got left as far as wood. Shouldn't be anything but ashes left, which there's not. So we're burned down right to ashes. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the ashes emptied out of here, and to do that, I'm going to start by just turning the shaker grates. That'll get a lot of it moved down. And then we'll take the scraping tool. I got them open. I'm just gonna kind of run it through here. Move some of that around. And then I'm going to close it back down, and I'm just going to kind of run through here, pile all this up. You can see I got a lot of it out. There's a lot of dust and everything in there. So what I'm going to do is get a shovel, and we're just going to scoop out what we can and throw it in the garbage can. So I got a good portion of it out with the, I'm going to let some of that ash that's in the air kind of move away since I'm not wearing a dust mask. Probably not my brightest thing. But, yeah. So I'm just going to get a little scraper bar and I'm going to scrape, the only scraping I'm going to do is where we got a couple of chunks of creosote that where they're built up in the front of it. So we'll get something to scrape that with. Okay, so the only hard thing there is that kind of doing that blind, but I think we got a good amount of it. Got a good amount of that scraped out of there, so now we're just gonna take the scraping tool, just kind of push it away. Alright, so open the shaker grates again and got pushed some more stuff down in the ash pan in the bottom. So I'll give you a peek in here. You can kind of see how the shaker grates open up. They're down now. I got all that stuff kicked down in the bottom of the pan. Now I may come back later and use a shop vac and suck out more of this stuff, but really the majority of it's out of here. The nice thing with the Portage main is that it uses the refractory brick in the bottom. There's not steel on the bottom, other than the shaker grates, of course. But they, if you leave ash in the boiler, the moisture will take the ash and actually becomes kind of acidic. So, and it can rot out the bottom of your boiler. This I don't think is as critical. Portage main guys, if you want to chime in and say I'm doing that wrong, by all means, I'll go back and fix it. But I think that's pretty much it, other than vacuuming it out for the sake of doing it. The majority of everything is out of the bottom of the boiler. So now we're just gonna need to pull the ash pan out and clean out under there. So obviously this is super full, being I knocked everything down here. Okay, so we got the majority of it out of there by dumping the ash pan, but obviously there was a lot in there. So now I'm gonna take the scraping tool, put the pan over. I'm just gonna go all the way to the back, pull the rest of it out. There we go. I'm gonna get something else. Just gonna clean around where that seal goes. Just gonna give this quick scrape. There we go. Scrape that off. A little bit of tar that built up on the door here. Okay, so we got that cleaned off, and yeah, I mean, no matter what, you're gonna get a little bit of tar creosote. It's gonna build up in areas, right? Because this is, no matter what boiler you have, you get buildup because just the nature of them. I've talked about it before. You know, you got a smoldering fire in there. Plus, it's the water jacket's taking heat away, and when it's on a low, when it's not cycling, you can get condensation build up, and then the smoke that kind of, you know, still is present because you're smoldering. That's what turns to creosote, and it finds its way down to the bottom, and it gets actually pretty moist down there. Seen before, both my videos and Dan from Back 40 shown on his Crown Royal, these type with the bottom you open it up, and if it's, depending on the day, depending on the wood, you can have you actually have water running out of here. It make you think it's leaking, but it's not. It's just condensation. So the other thing I'm gonna clean off here is I'm gonna do a quick clean off of the door and just put the garbage can underneath it. Let's close this back up. And I'll set you guys over here. Let's get this over here. Do a little bit of scraping. little bit there in the doorway to scrape off. And give it once around. Seal worked really good on this. So I didn't have too many issues with, didn't have any issues with it leaking by actually. I'm just going to give it a quick scrape. Again, not looking for perfection, just getting the majority of it out of here. Sweep that back into the firebox. Clean that a little bit out of the door hinges. And there we go. You can see, you get a little bit of stuff still on the door, but this is nowhere near. I'll be honest, even the classic Edge had more on the door. It had even more on the door than what I've got here. So we got that done. Now, last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one more clean out of the upper chamber. But first, I've got a ladder up, and we're gonna go run a brush down the chimney stack and see how much we end up, how much stuff built up in the chimney. Okay, so I got my ladder set up over here, and we're gonna climb up, and we're gonna take a brush. Hopefully my ladder's set up tall enough, but we're gonna take our brush and climb up and run it down. Okay, so we're back at the back of the stove. I'm just going to open up the back plug here, and there you have it. There's all the stuff that was in the chimney. I'm going to bring the garbage can back over here, and we'll just empty that out. Put the garbage can under there, hopefully aimed it right, so we can catch most of this. There you go. Then what I like to do with these is actually take the brush and run it through. And there you have it. See, it's all cleaned out there. There's a little bit around the ring here. Just take a finger and kind of clean out that lock ring. There we go. Take our cap. Close her up. And that's it. Alright, so last thing I'm going to do is, I did have the front open. I'll take you over here so you can see that. I did have the the front door of the multi-pass chamber. You can see the multi-pass chamber there, open. I ran that brush way in. That way it can take a lot of this out. But I'm gonna take the scraping tool, and I'm gonna do one more time of just doing a pass through it. I might even take the brush and run it through there just for sake of doing it. But same as we do when we're burning, we just take and run this up along the top, all the way to the back, and pull it ahead. Try to get a little scrape action going on here. There we go. So there really wasn't a whole lot in there. The last week I burned, obviously I had done my normal scrape in here, so there really wasn't a whole lot. I pushed it back into the burn chamber, most of it, pretty much out of habit. But I'm going to collect the rest of it into a shovel, just so it's out of there, because I might have to vacuum or sweep more of this out of the box, because again, this is creosote, so this can be kind of acidic. I don't want to run any chance of rotting out what is metal in here, so we're gonna scoop this out. I'm gonna get what's on the door off. That just actually flakes right off. I really need to scrape it. That's pretty great. There you go. A little bit off the door. Like I said, I'm gonna go grab the brush, and I'm just gonna run the brush through it real quick, just for the sake of doing it. There you go, guys. So that's what we got out of the multi-pass chamber. When you bring stuff out the front, it makes kind of a hell of a mess. So I don't really like doing it that way. But again, I'll probably come out here with the shop vac, kind of clean this up a little bit. So that can be saved for another day. All right, close this back up. That's it. Okay, so we got this all cleaned up, closed back up. The last thing to do, especially if you don't have a rain cap on. At one point I had a rain cap on this. I was kind of telling the story, and not too many people believe me. It actually backdrafted once and blew the cap right off. So I just left it off. It does just fine without a rain cap, but for the rest of the non-burning season, you don't want rain running down into the chimney and collecting water into the boiler. Again, it is metal, it will rust. So we want to keep the metal out, or keep the water out of it. So last thing you do, pretty much what everybody does, find a bucket, throw it on top. Okay, just show you, nothing fancy, just plain old bucket, plastic bucket you get from, this one came from the farm store. But I'm just going to climb up top and drop it over. And just like that, boiler's put to bed for the season. So, figure I'd give a couple of final thoughts on the Portage main. Overall, after the first season with it, I do like it. Like it better than our old gas fire. You know, the gas fire did have its advantages. One being less wood used. This used more wood. Not a ton more. Again, it's not anywhere near what my original boiler was, which was as inefficient as they come. You know, with that one probably would have burned 12, 14 full cord of wood. This one, like I said, we got away with 9 or 10. The old central boiler gas fire, that would have probably done somewhere between 6 and 8. So a little bit up, but not too bad. One of the things we didn't have that I had with the central boiler, didn't have problems with middle of winter with solenoids failing, with the primary tube plugged up with creosote. Something about central boilers design on that, at least around here when it gets really cold, it lends itself to plugging with creosote, even with dry wood. It's kind of, that was always disappointing. And actually, my dad has a classic edge as well. He still has his. Actually, he's got it. He had a new one this year because his old one, luckily it was warranted, but actually started leaking right around that primary tube. It had corrosion where the primary tube passed through the water jacket and corroded and started leaking on him. So fun times, middle of winter, changing a boiler out. That was no fun at all. But his new one did fine. You know, one of the things you see this, I got a little bit of soot on me and a little bit of dirt, but that's no big deal for me. It's not like with the central boiler where, again, I had to scrape out everything. You know, got to where I bought a needle scaler just to try to break out creosote to get the primary tubes out. Because you had to pull all the primary tubes out. You had to disassemble the inside of the boiler, literally disassemble it and clean everything and put it back together. That was an all-day job, and I would come out covered head to toe with soot and creosote and all kinds of things that I didn't like having on in my clothes, on my body. So that's, you know, that's definitely a advantage here. Got a little bit on me, you know, but I wear just work clothes, and again, this took, what time is it? So it's 10 o'clock now. I started right around 9 o'clock, so just about an hour, and she shut down and parked for the season. Because we still gotta get some cold, I do leave the pumps running. I want water circulating. You know, when we switch to using propane, the furnace is gonna run a little bit and on a cooler night. But if it gets down to freezing, the nice thing is because of the way the furnace is set up, the heat exchanger is after the burner in the furnace, so running the furnace will heat the water. It is gonna use a little bit of propane to do it, but what it does is it keeps the water above freezing. Actually, it warms it to about 100 degrees. Definitely enough to keep it from freezing up on us. You know, the only place that we have potential for freezing is over here in the greenhouse, because I do run a thermostat in there. It was actually the one that comes with all the central boilers. They give you a thermostat that shuts the water off to the appliance after if it gets to low temperature, to try to get the boiler to heat back up. I use that in the greenhouse just so that if something goes on with the greenhouse, you know, or we get in a point where we got to conserve. We're running out of wood. We're running out of heat. I want to keep the house warm. Let it shut the greenhouse off. You know, when we don't need it. I mean, it's not the end of the world if the greenhouse doesn't go heated. A couple plants are going to die. You know, if we're ever at the point of where we're dependent on the greenhouse in the winter, that's why I heated it, you know, to grow vegetables or whatever. I mean, as long as there's still a store, hopefully there'll still be. Who knows the way the world is. But, you know, we can just go to the store and buy stuff. So, anyway, guys, so I hope that was a good... give you a good idea of the difference in cleaning out the Portage main versus the central boiler. Apologize if any of the camera angles weren't ideal. Working with kind of a backup tripod right now. As you saw in my previous video, I had the other tripod somehow not tipped over and broke. So waiting to get a new one there. It's on order. But so we're just using the backup little tripod, which doesn't go very high. But at least it's enough that I can set it up. So that's going to do it for me today, guys. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. Feel free to share. Until next time, everyone, from all of us here at Beavertown Outdoors in the beautiful Beavertown compound, be good to each other, take care, stay safe, and I'm out.